Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the series we call Breakdowns. And in this one, we're going to break down a whole class, which is not something that I make no assertion that I created this or this is my invention. This is what we call around here in the locality, Crawler Canyon Class 1.5, CCC 1.5. This gentleman, his name is Dusty, and he is basically the first full-fledged example of Crawler Canyon Class 1.5 that was built here. We don't have all of them. We've given away a number of Crawler Canyon Class 1.5 builds up to this point. We've probably given away as many as I have built because I try to spread the madness. I have over there on a skid, not too distant from where I stand right now, I've got a Marlin RC 4-wheel drive Trailfinder 2 Marlin Edition, which is like what Class 1 is. Tiny tires, leaf springs, C-channels, hard body, all of those things. And it became, I would like to say, relatively quickly clear to me that I didn't favor it, but it really took several years for me to figure it out. And what the genesis, the light bulb in the air moment for that was, someone in the comments said, "You do like Class 1. Bruce, I have an FMS FJ40, which is marked on the bottom as 1/10 scale. It is not. It is roughly 1/7 scale. It's giant. His body, if you were to take the roof off, you could fit this whole rig basically inside of Bruce. Bruce makes a 5-inch tall Trepidor look like a Class 1 tire because being 1/7 scale, a 5-inch tall tire is basically a 35. So in real world, it's not even that big. And he has leaf springs and C-channels and a hard body and all of those things. So for me to like Class 1, which is normally associated with these little wee fellas, I needed to figure out what it was. What was it about Class 1 that I didn't like? And it's stacking limitations. You've got a hard body and you've got C-channels and you've got tiny little tires and no ground clearance and all of these things. So I thought to myself, maybe what it is, maybe it's not that I don't like little tires. Maybe it's that I don't like stacking all of those limitations. So Dusty here in the 3C 1.5, Crawler Canyon Class 1.5 is basically 4.19 or smaller tire, so a Class 1 tire, a full body, meaning the body covers most, if not all of the tire, no tucks, no pinches, no cabs, which means we're usually looking at about 313 millimeter wheelbase because we're basically restricted by whatever the wheelbase is on the body. If you want to run a 324, that's fine. Basically, I'm a big believer in rules of inclusion, right? You may, in the ruling for Crawler Canyon Class 1.5, you may run any body so long as the body is a full body with full fenders. It can be a car, it can be a van, it can be a truck, whatever you want it to be. And it can be Lexan, because all of that heavy, high weight is a problem. Then once you get underneath that, as you see, there's definitely not a lot there. I don't even go so far as to say, oh, I mandate chassis mounted steering. If you want servo and axle, that's absolutely fine. The rules have been adapting slowly over time. Any chassis you want is absolutely fine. If you have portal axles, I consider portals to be a channel. I wanted to make as few rules as possible to try to just keep it fair, because I want to basically make every Class 1.5 rig that I make different in some little way. It doesn't have to be brushed. It can be an outrunner. It can be a fusion. It can be whatever you want to run it on. It can be chassis mounted steering. It can be BTA. It can be servo and axle, whatever you want, right? But if you have straight axles, I give you a free channel. So if you have straight axles, you can have dig or adjustable overdrive, if that's the kind of thing you're into. If you have portal axles, you don't get an extra channel. That's basically the third channel, because you get 3 channels to work with. You get steering, you get throttle, and you get another one. People have asked, what about 4-wheel steer? I draw the line at 4-wheel steer. 4-wheel steer, like, you can't 4-wheel steer in class 2. You can't 4-wheel steer in class 1. You basically have to get into like sporties and unlimited class to get into 4-wheel steer stuff. So I say, keep it KISS, keep it simple, stupid. No 4-wheel steer. So this is Dusty. He has a Mias Gold Rush chassis, just the rails, and all of the other pieces were modified to fit. This is a servo mount from an unknown LCG setup. SSD Diamond Pros. These are Traxxas GTS for the shocks. It looks like Chavtech springs in the front, and I'm going to say elements in the back. Megalithics on trials, and one of the great beauties, because we're not saddled by things like hard bodies. We've got flat rails. I think almost all of them, to a man, just run the included single stage foams, because they are not heavy. Most of them are right around between 5 and 5.5 pounds, because as you see, there's not a lot there. And he's running 1080, the NHX Momentum Crawler 540 Plus V2. This is the 20-turn version. He would probably honestly be better suited with the 16-turn version, but the 20-tooth is fine. The 20-turn is fine. We just run a little bit. We run the gearing a little bit taller to get a little bit of ground speed out of him. Amazon Tricolor Dig. This is one of those things where people have asked, should I try that? Should I try this? Yeah, I think you should. And the beauty of Crawler Canyon Class 1.5 is there really isn't, like, nobody really sells it. Like, you can build the Mias Gold Rush kit and turn one out of it simply by putting small tires on it. And small tires on portals is pretty good. 393s on portals will genuinely surprise you. So the NHX, the 540V Plus, 540 Plus V2, what I call the big blocks. They use neodymium. They use rare earth magnets inside, so the rotor is much bigger. Typically a brushed motor, the little spinny part in the middle will be 24 millimeters, and the spinny part in the middle of this one is 28 millimeters. So those in the know would know that that amount of increase is absolutely significant. That is a big amount of increase. So these have similar torque profile to something brushless. But I know that a lot of folks don't like that feel of particularly Outrunners, because Outrunner motors are boom. You say, give me power. It says bow. It says how much. Brushed does have like what I guess people would call a softness. There's a softness to it. But this one, being a 5-slot, is very, very smooth. And because it is a big block with the rare earth magnets, it is also very, very strong. Because even now, when just doing this, I have turned the wheels on RTR vehicles where it requires less effort to do this while the vehicle is powered up than this one does just like this. Am I saying that everyone should try one of these? Kinda. It is a $40 motor and a $40 speed control, so that's $80, which is right in the wheelhouse of a number of Outrunner combos, right up there with a Fusion. It's not the most economical, but if you've got a rig that already has an Outrunner, and you've got a rig that already has a Fusion, it is something that I would at least recommend people try. It feels very different. And some of my favorite rigs to wheel are the ones that have this exact combo with the 1080 and the NHX Momentum. I prefer the look of the Gold Can Surpass ones, but they are becoming very difficult to find. This one has like a blue chrome. There's no angle I can hold it. It looks like this. It's like a blue chrome. And it's the inside. It's the same exact motor on the inside. I have them in several colors, and I love them all. Gold Rush and a 50 kg Flash Hobby Direct Power up front. That is Dusty, and he was named such because when I painted this, this is the Element Trail Walker. This is a Trail Walker body. When I painted him, I was like, he's gonna look dusty all the time, and he absolutely does. He's absolutely lived up to his name. Second, built right after him, is the Flancor, which is Flanco R. So capital F, lowercase Lanco, uppercase R, because I had seen a picture of one of the racing Broncos, and it had the rear cut way up like that. And I mean full size, like real world size, because I was trying to get an idea of how much to cut, what to make the fenders look like. That is a Pro Ultra Vanquish bumper on the rear. He runs no bumper in the front. Bumpers are not required in this class. You can run bumpers if you want to. And on this guy particularly, I prefer having a bumper because this guy and some of his stablemates, they will grab that rear end and pop, 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 because there's no bumpers. Bumpers are not required, though, and that is another hallmark of Class 1.5. These are Class 1 rock blocks, stock foams. This is a J Concepts, I've now forgotten, Bronco. We call it the Flanco because if you look at it long enough, it is half Bronco and half Ford Flex. So you see, like the line, yeah, it's a Bronco. This is too long and too low. So after you look at it long enough, it definitely becomes a Flanco. And I do like clear color window tint, but this yellow Spastics didn't lay down as clear. I've done the colored tint on other bodies with Tamiya. You can see it's okay. The Tamiya green and red lay down crystal clear. This got a little foggy. The rest of it is all, just like with him, is Glidden Max Flex. So you can get this at the Home Depot. Max Flex white, Max Flex yellow, and Max Flex black. It sticks right to polycarbonate like polycarbonate paint. And underneath, this is an Element Comp Fox because the Comp Fox went on sale. And I said, I'll do that. And the Comp Fox came with no accommodation whatsoever to do chassis mounted steering. So I did it. That reflection is very distracting. So I did it myself. I also had to manufacture my own body mounts because the way the body mounts come on the Comp Fox are not recommended. So if you want a kicked skid, you can absolutely have that. If you want high clearance links, whatever. He is portal. These are Mias portals. And the Comp Fox comes on Element portals, which I recommend to no one. If you can get the Element portal axles cheaply, do that. And then buy the plastics and front universals to convert them over to straight axles. I love an Element straight axle. I am no fan of the Element portal. Same motor, but the 11-turn version to accommodate the portals. So we said Comp Fox Mias portals. These are what we call Chavtex, the Dravtex / Big Bore clones. J Concepts rock blocks, again, stock foams. And then the J Concepts body, and we use conventional mount holes, but then we make some little, well, not that little, we make some aluminum wings and a little bit of Velcro on the inside of the body. And this was, I want to say, this was the second Class 1.5 Flash Hobby 60 kg up front. Again, 1080 in the spot where the motor would go, and another Momentum. Put it over the posts, Velcro it down. This is one of my favorite methods to attach a body, and he has even better tire coverage because this little body, the Trail Walker, is really quite narrow. We get to our third one. Let me go right here. Again, a little off the beaten path, and tire coverage has gotten even better. They're basically all the way under now. He can do the party trick, tuck it all the way up inside. This is a Pro line. This is the F100 Ranger, but for pre-runner. And when I saw it, I said, how long has this body been in the A-Main catalog? Several years, and I have never seen one. This is a mix of Glidden Max Flex and Duplicolor vinyl and fabric. He gets really dusty as well. they're all blue. There's actually 3 blues. You got to hold it just right. You can see this blue is a little darker than this blue. And then this blue basically looks gray. This is the Duplicolor vinyl and fabric blue, which looks completely gray. And then Glidden Max Flex black on the inside. And when you spray it too fast, you can get a little bit of, see this little weirdness? Get a little bit of weirdness in there. But it's absolutely fine. Underneath, Zoku ZRD chassis with sliders. And then we had to cut a little. And then we mounted an Element Stealth X. It's got a little Furatech Dynamic 380 2800 kV running off of a secure 120 amp, which is all the wires are literally held down by this battery strap. Flash Hobby 60 kg servo on axle on top of Mias nylon straights. And they are great. This feels like cheating with that amount of steering angle. And he is Element Factory Team Shocks flipped upside down. Element with an associated slipper mounted in the front. You know, and Boss Man on stock inserts. I feel like I'm getting the hang of it. He has the most advantages of the 3, both in terms of geometry, in terms of the axles just throwing down an absurd steering angle, an absolutely absurd steering angle. The body being so wide, being for a pre-runner, that, again, I mean, it's good stuff, right? It's good stuff. So, his name is Voodoo Ranger because he has 2 battery straps that say Voodoo, and he's a Ranger, and it got in my head, and once it's in my head, there it is. Crawler Canyon, Class 1.5. Here's the beauty of it. Do you, talking to you, do you have a rig that you say, I don't know, like it wasn't quite, it didn't do the, you know, it wasn't, do you have like a 1080 speed control lying around that you tried it and then you tried a Fusion and you went, oh man, I'm never going back. Take those bits and bobs. Find a body, on sale. They were all on sale. $20, probably $30. And I think this one was about $30. Bodies go on sale all the time. Proline's got a Jeep Comanche 12.3 would be great. Anything non-pinched, no cabs, anything full fender. You can build one of these. Maybe someone else. You can build one of these perhaps with what you have laying around. Whatever chassis catches your eye. Whatever body catches your eye. Whatever axle you feel like using. Do you have a pair of homeless axles? AR-44s, AR-45s. Buy some Mias. Whatever you've got, throw it together. And as long as the body covers most of the tire, and that tire is a 4.19 or smaller, whatever that one might be, anything in X2SS, J Concepts Green, whatever you like. It's not stacking limitations as bad as full-blown Class 1 does, in my opinion. All 3 of these are an absolute delight. And all 3 of these were built as inexpensively as possible. Like, I had gotten my hands, this was my first set of the Mias nylon straights that I'd put on anything. Nobody here got anything bought specifically for their builds except for the bodies. I bought that body and built to that body, and I bought that body and built to that body. This one was hanging on a peg, and I was like, you know what? It's different. Cobweb. Boy, that is... There might be a spider living inside him. That's different. We'll make something out of that. It's a good time. It really is fun. And there's the beauty of it. There's the well and true beauty of it. When you're running a Class 1 tire, aside from the Trail Walker body, which you do have to kind of, the stock fenders are like this big. So I actually I cut these perfectly round. I made a template and I cut them out perfectly round, like you would do on a sedan. Aside from that, most bodies, you barely have to cut them up at all to clear a tire this small. So if you decide, you know what, that dude on the internet, that idiot in a shed, he's completely wrong. I don't like this at all. You can just cut the fenders out, put some canyon trails or some deep woods or something on it, and back on the rocks you go. I love these. I can't stop building them. I've built half a dozen, and I'll probably build a handful more, either for ones that get given away or for ones that I'm building for the canyon. If I've got a set of Class 1 tires up on the rack, I automatically think, oh, what kind of a chassis, what kind of an operation are we going to build for the next one? Like, we got to mix it up. What are we going to do? I had built another platform that is built off of Injora 10 Pro rails, and I was going to build one of these out of it, but then in the midst of the build, it went that way, and that's absolutely fine. If you start off building one thing and you build something else before you're done, great, right? As long as the condo check applies and it sparks joy, you did the right thing. And in any discussion of Class 1.5, any discussion of Class 1.5 wouldn't be complete without the prototype, the non-1.5 1.5, because I didn't know 1.5 was going to be at the time. And going way back from when I first converted my TRX4 to a TRX6 by buying up all the plastic bits and slapping them all together. This gentleman's name is Rusty, and he's one of my oldest patina bodies. And when I was patinaing out this J Concepts C10, I knew it had to have a one mismatched fender. It had to have a primer door, and it did that. And this body has held up remarkably well. It's got some little splits, but please do take into account that his front bumper is just 5/16 inch steel bar, and his rear bumper is the bumper off of a Defender, and it is actually physically bent in multiple angles. This bumper actually succeeded in bending the only set of TRX4 C-channel rails that I've ever bent. Because if you put enough torque on that, you can bend even the C-channels. Those are the bent C-channels. Those C-channels are the C-channels from the first rock crawler that I ever bought, a red-bodied TRX4 Defender, purchased in a caffeine-fueled bout of insomnia. And we waste no parts of the Buffalo. We took a bunch of stuff from Jenny's RC. He has gone through a bunch of permutations. He was originally on 393 Bounty Hunters after he was converted to straight axles. These are Vanquish F10 straights. And then we realized if you've ever tried to pair straight axles to a TRX4 gearbox, you are trying to ice skate uphill. So I got the skid from Deluxe, which gives you a mount to mount a different gearbox. So I had to make a little adapter plate because in my head, I read on the internet that it was designed to fit an OD3, and then I had committed myself to that. So he was getting an OD3. Look how good those driveline angles are. 18% underdrive. Once again, tusks. If there's a commonality of the vehicles of Class 1.5, it's that it's J Concepts, J Concepts, J Concepts, J Concepts, because it's what works around here. And we have no duplicators. We've got Megs, Rock Blocks, Bossman, and Tusks. We're covering almost all the bases. He is fitted with a Holmes Hobbies Revolver V2 1800 kV and a Rhino V80. 45 kg Flash Hobby up front. Does that mean they're all Flash Hobbies? I believe it does. I think that's 4 for 4 on the Flash Hobbies. And he's not the he's got sliders. He's the only one with sliders. He's the only one with bumpers. He's the only one with fenders. So he's much closer, aside from the body, to being a dictionary definition of a Class 1.5. And he was the thing that was there in the back of my head, not knowing that I was going to start building more of these specifically. Like I never had, when I was building him initially, I never had any idea that I was going to build more of these. But he was kind of the spark that led me to where I am now. And honestly, he is kind of perfect as he sits now. What are his shocks? GTS? Traxxas GTS with element springs on him. Gray band in the front, white band in the back. He is at a significant disadvantage compared to his stablemates because he has bumpers and sliders. And mind you, don't forget, those sliders start off black. And they were on my first TRX4. They were on my Defender. So was that rear bumper. So we develop and we adapt and we change as time goes on. And I'll be building more unquestionably because it has re-sparked or has sparked an affinity for Class 1 tires. Because the small tire doesn't necessarily have to mean decreased performance. Like this guy will go toe-to-toe with most. It's like each time I build one, it gets a little more capable. He does have servo and axle and an outrunner, whereas this is brushed and this is brushed. So, you know. If you know, you know. But it is something that I think if you get to a point where you're like, well, I feel like I've seen it all. It's like I say, if you think that line that you keep doing, all of a sudden it feels easy to you now, take a tennis ball, cut it in half, put them a fixed distance apart and put them somewhere and tell yourself, now drive through that. All of a sudden, the difficulty level just ramped right back up. And now you've got that spot marked. And now you can go through that gate real easy. Well, now, take these off and put those on. And suddenly it gets difficult again. And what you're doing is you're tricking yourself. You don't notice, but you're deepening that skill set, right? You're giving yourself more skill. And then after you drive this, where is he? After you drive that, then you drive this and you're like, oh, easy mode. I'm not banging the tires into the fenders all the time. I'm not whacking my differentials off of everything, right? We can make it. The idea is challenging, but not to the point where it feels like work. And 1.5 for me doesn't feel like work. It feels like a good time. It feels like a different thing. So that's that. And I will leave to you any questions, comments, or concerns to be voiced in the comments below. If I've forgotten to cover anything pertinent to Class 1.5 in the Crawler Canyon fashion, please do let me know in the aforementioned comments. I hope to see you again real soon here from the Canyon. Now I got to put all these rigs away. And there's a lot of them. Thanks so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next time. In between now and then, please want to do your best. We'll see you again here from the Canyon with some other thing at some other time. And it'll probably be just as rambly as this one.